Right, so taking a look at our team composition, it looks like we're mainly running a brawl comp with a little bit of a spam with the Mercy Ash. They are on a little bit of everything. I think enemy team is mainly on a brawl as well, and then they have a little tiny bit of a dive with the monkey there.
The strike is won. My will made real.
Enemy, come and face me.
Thank you. I will rebuild you. This will restore you. I need to recharge.
Somehow he survives that.
Thank you.
Oh,
Hmm.
that was out of juice.
This will heal you.
The big challenge when I'm playing with Moira is when I play this way and enable my team. Um, if they're too passive, if they're not getting picks, I have to switch to Zen and start opening up the points with picks.
Hmm. Yeah, which like if your team's playing too passive to where they're not making any space at all, then that's situations where we can look to get more aggressive and go and do our own thing. Now looking back in this fight, very rarely will you see
My will
high
made
level
real.
Moiras run out of resource. You'll notice that like top level Moiras run out of it maybe like 2, 3 times a game. Right off the
Yeah,
bat here, we're running out of resource pretty much instantly. So you just got to be careful with this. Like that when we see that she's only 1 HP down, that we're just tapping this. We're not like hard healing
I will
it,
rebuild
and
you.
we're also
yeah.
looks like we're trying to heal possibly out of range here, or at
I
least.
will
Oh, I
rebuild
didn't.
you.
I didn't realize.
Yep, and then also we're just kind of holding this down while he's full. Okay, now he needs
It-
it, but
This will
mm,
restore you. I need to
yeah,
it,
and my
recharge.
thought process there is typically when they do something a little stupid or a little too aggressive,
This will heal
mm,
I
you.
typically like want to be proactive with healing because if I wait until I see the critical sign, they're late. It's
mhm.
almost late. Is that like
Attack.
So you don't need to be proactive with it, but you do want to be looking at them. The thing is that if you're already looking at them, then that means that you are able to heal them faster because your crosshair is already placed on top of them, and that means that you can heal them up. But if we're healing at before they're taking all the damage, then that means that we're just wasting a lot of our resource, and then we're running out of resource like halfway into the fight, right? The
for
big thing
sure?
is we want to try to preserve our resource and make sure that every single moment that damage isn't needed that we're or sorry that healing isn't needed that we're looking for damage so that we can keep our resource up and
Eyes on the
alive.
bad guys.
Yeah, that's what I saw a video where someone mentioned they were explaining how they play Moira, and it was really fascinating because he's like, he only does damage when his health bar when his resource is below half.
Hmm.
So it really like it blew my mind because I'm like, wait, what? He actually just only damages to refill his heals, and he stays with his team and heals. And I was like, what is this? What is this guy? He's actually playing as a healer.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that play style because then you're wasting a lot because no your team's not going to need healing at all times, and that's wasting a
Yeah,
lot of time where you can be getting your resource bar back up. At the same time, Moira also just does a lot of good consistent damage to where you can clean up kills very easily. So we can probably look for damage a decent bit, especially like any time that our team's not needing it, right? So like when we're walking back in here, we need because we see we're low on resource. Number one thing we're looking for right now is damage because our team is full HP, right? So we need to be looking for damage. Okay, Mora dies. Still looking for damage. Okay, throw in a healing orb. And they get a 3k tired. So we're regrouping.
Allow me to repair the damage.
here I'm going. My idea is like I'm gonna get a crossfire angle with this coalescence, but I think they just get wiped before it even comes
Co-
out.
Coalescence isn't really something you use a crossfire for because of the fact that you get more value when you use it with your team, right? Because you get healing, and the more people you line up, the better coalescence is because you do healing and damage through it. So you want to make sure that you're lining up as many people as possible. So therefore, because of that fact, getting a crossfire means that now you're just not healing half your team, right?
Yeah, true.
Other thing here is we should probably, while we're waiting here, what we should probably be doing is just peeking and trying to get damage in, right? It's not like us peeking is gonna get us killed, right? All we have to do is just fade if we see that we're in any danger. But we just kind of peek here, right click in, try to get some damage on the Reinhardt who's on the front line or whatnot. But instead, we kind of just chill on the right side when we could be getting in damage on Tor, Brian, and then that way we're not sitting at, what are we, half HP, half resource, right? So we want to,
Oh, half resource. Okay.
yep. So we want to be starting off this fight with a resource, not starting it off with half of it.
Okay. I didn't even. Yeah, that's awareness.
Mhm.
I was solely focused on, and then I was just trying to punish them for overextending him.
Mhm.
Make a play. There we go. I was solely focused on positioning, and it took so much of my focus that like the other
Mhm.
things are just like.
Yep. Yeah, we got to make sure that we're all not completely forgetting about everything else as well, right?
Yeah.
Into the eyes.
This will only hurt for a moment.
Okay. Gotta watch health bars when we're tossing in orbs. So first off, remember damage or healing orbs come out if we got critical teammates, if we got someone's too far away to heal, if we're low HP, if we're out of resource. None of those check boxes are checked off, so therefore a damage orb is probably going to be thrown here. But if we look at Zarya, right, Zarya's not in need of healing. She also has a nade on herself, so she can't actually heal. So the orb just doesn't get as much value as maybe tossing a damage orb.
Let me write that down too. Okay.
Clearing the area. Allow me to repair the damage. Turret detected. I claim this objective.
Also, I should have said this at the very beginning, but I apologize if I'm talking a little bit quieter. I do have a sore throat right now, so I'm just trying to conserve it a little bit.
Oh no, I hear you. As an orb, I tend to like. I will throw a healing orb proactively, and if we're about to take an engagement on point like that, that's what I was doing.
Mhm.
Is that a good use of the orb? Because like we're about that in that case, there weren't really many people on point, but more often it's like a 6v6. We're meeting on point. I'm throwing the orb like on Li Jiang, and the orb's
Yeah,
just going to be bouncing around healing people while
the
I'm doing damage.
the damage orb is damage when it comes to damage and sorry, when it comes to orb usage and your primary fire, right? Primary and secondary fire. Damage is always the default, and healing is what you do as a kind of, healing comes secondary, but healing is the priority. So that means that, and healing's gonna be coming out a lot of the time. It's gonna be around the 50-50 split. Healing comes whenever somebody needs healing. Healing orbs come during any of the times that I previously spoke, right? Whenever we have no resource, whenever somebody's critical and they need burst healing, whenever uh, we need healing ourselves, whenever maybe we have our ultimate. But damage orb should be coming out every other time, because every time we throw a damage orb, as long as we use the full orb, that's roughly 10% ult charge. Okay, that charges our ult much faster for throwing, and because in between fights there's roughly 20 seconds, and our orb has a 10-second cooldown. We can get 20% to our ult pretty much between fights just by tossing in an orb. Um,
Oh
so
wow.
yeah, that means that we should be really looking to use our damage orbs anytime that healing orb isn't necessary, and then we use healing orb if it is necessary.
Okay.
Which is
My
gonna.
thinking
Mm,
my thinking was like I want to go on the point and start killing people, so I'm gonna throw a healing orb, but also right click damage, so I don't have to worry about healing. I'm just doing damage while the orb is
Um,
bouncing
the
around.
problem with that is healing orb can't be targeted, right? You can't actively pick who you're healing with that, so therefore you need to still pay attention to who's gonna need healing, because that means that you can actually target people, like if somebody's critical. Now you
Yeah.
can go for the damage, like that's okay to go for damage, but damage is coming until somebody needs healing. So it's a good idea to look for damage to start off, because nobody's going to be critical to start off the fight. But it's probably just going to be better if you
I'm
start off with a
restored.
damage orb, or if you start, or even if you just hold on to orb and then just wait until they do need healing rather than throwing it preemptively. Because if you throw it preemptively, orb's just gonna soak up all the like little tiny bit of HP, right? So Reinhardt goes down 1 HP, it just keeps soaking that up, and then now it hasn't really gotten any value. When you throw orb for teammates, a lot of the time it's gonna be because Reinhardt's 1 HP, right? He's critical and he's about to die, and we're trying to burst heal him up, right? We can throw the orb and heal him with a primary fire, and then that gets him 2 times the healing, right?
Okay. Okay. It sounds like it comes back to Lola. Where's my note? It sounds like it comes back to alt economy,
Mm,
or getting the most, like, is it about,
it's
is it primarily?
a big part of it is about getting your ult a lot faster. Because keep in mind, when you get your ult faster, that means that like if you like just think about it, like if you are tossing in damage orbs consistently, you're getting your ult 20 to 30% faster every single ultimate that you have. That's an insane number, because now you're getting more ultimates per game, and you're getting more value out of that. You get more healing and more damage when you have your ultimate online. So yes, ultimate is a big part of that, because you can get the charge in. So that's when you're throwing damage orbs in between fights. That's the purpose that's why you throw damage orbs in between fights. But in a fight, you can still throw damage orbs as long as the healing isn't needed for anything else. That way we can the big thing with our damage orbs when we're throwing damage orbs in the middle of a fight is we try to toss it at not just in the middle of the enemy team. Now we're trying to toss it at specific people so we can burst them down, because the same way that when somebody's low HP on our team and we burst them up when they're low, so we burst heal Orion, we can burst damage somebody who on the enemy team by tossing a damage orb at a squishy target, like for example like a Zenyatta or a like an Ana, right? We toss a damage orb at them and right click them, and then now they're dying 2 times faster.
Yeah.
So it can be used, yes, it's going to be used all the time in between fights, and then some of the time in a fight.
Okay.
Regenerating your cellular
The difference
state.
between, I know it makes sense, like in terms of the difference between when you actually have a Moira matchup. Okay, I get my coalescence faster.
Hmm.
When it's not a Moira matchup, you're just like, it's just about you're not maximizing the impact of your character on the smaller scale.
Well, getting coalescence isn't just when you're in the more and more of the matchup. Getting coalescence faster is always going to be more beneficial, because that means you're getting it roughly every single fight rather than every other fight. And because how often would you say now you get coalescence?
Um, Probably every fight and a half.
Every fight and a half, right? If we can get that to be 20 or 30% faster, that's now
Yeah.
almost every fight, right? That means that we're getting coalescence in a lot more per game. When we get coalescence faster, that gives us more opportunities to use it, right? Because if we're getting coalescence halfway through the fight, then that means that it might not get as much value as if we had it at the very beginning and we had more situations to look to use it, right? So getting an ult faster is always going to be is always going to be good for us. It's not only if they have another Moira.
Okay.
This will heal you.
Yeah, it was so hard to just like literally just follow my tanks.
Fire at will.
Which the problem is that we're following our tanks, but we're not like we're focused too much on healing while we're following them. So as we're walking through, right, we're kind of tunnel visioning on healing when, like, if we pay attention, like Zarya's down 1 HP here. She gets flash, she's down a little bit more now. We're hard healing, but we've already wasted half of our resource on her by hard healing when she's not low, right? We don't hard heal when somebody's low. We just tap them and we look away, right? She has less tap heal potential now, because it's went from 4 seconds to 2 seconds of heal over time, but it's still there. You still get value out of it. So if she's down 1 HP here, we don't hard heal, because look how much Like here, look how much she's down 1 HP, and look how much resource we waste just off of healing her when she's 1 HP. Right? Okay, she take all the damage now, but by that time we're already down what, like a fifth of our resource, right? We spend a lot of our resource on her before she even needs that healing, when we could have just tapped her and then looked and then went to other healing, right? Here, once we see that she's full HP, right? At this point, we cut off the healing because
Oh,
Mercy's
it
on top
doesn't
of.
stack.
Oh, it does stack. Yeah, it stacks on the with the Mercy.
I mean, like it doesn't stack just Moira's. Like spraying them harder doesn't heal faster or more. But it does. It doesn't.
It does, but you don't need to heal her faster here because she's only down 1 HP. Healing her faster here doesn't matter because we're wasting resource when we do that. Moira has a heal over time effect. Or have we talked about this before?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she has a heal over time effect. So when to maximize her resource, we want to use that heal over time effect, right? So that when somebody's just down 1 HP, or we're in the middle of like in between a fight, right? We can get them full HP, and then just at the last little bit we just let it auto heal them, right?
Yeah. Oh, you were saying heal to 75%.
Which
Okay.
now that's a little bit higher. That's what I used to say, right? Because um she had they just nerfed or changed her, right? She used to heal for 4 seconds. After you were done, right? It would heal over time for 4 seconds. Now it's 2 seconds. So you just tap them up to the very top and then you let go, right? So now it's more like 80% health ish, right? That's where you're letting go. And also, on top of that, in between fights, right, when we're in between a fight, somebody's not going to be taking damage. So even if they're if they're like critical HP, if they're in our spawn, all we have to do is just tap them, and that way we're not wasting all our resource on them, right? All we have to do is keep doing that, right, once in a while, and then that way we're not going like this and then wasting like half of our resource, and then that way we're conserving our resource. So to conserve
My
resource.
my think. I
Mm,
guess my thinking was like
Repairing the damage.
there is a delay in both the travel time to heal and then the
mm.
time it takes for them to actually heal. So my thinking there was just she's probably overextended. She's about to take an unknown, probably a lot of damage, which you saw. She almost got picked. So I'm gonna get the heals on her before she starts taking damage, kind of the
The
way that
heal over
Hog.
the heal over time doesn't stack. Healing over time, like that's gonna be a consistent value, so you're not going to be able to pre-heal somebody. Like you healing them directly, like while you're holding down the button, does more healing than the heal over time, right? So that means the heal over time only starts after you're done healing them. And so that means that when
Oh,
yeah, okay, so what map are we on here?
Armor.
Where is it? Hanamura. Alright, there we go. So that means that
Traveling to Hanamura. Ready for
when
battle.
yes, when she's critical we can heal her up, hard heal her up like that. But not when or where are we at? But not when she's just down a little bit of her HP. And then the other thing right here, right? When she's already full HP, or right here we are letting go. We see Mercy's healing her, and she's already
Yeah.
most of her HP. Heal over time effect is going to heal her up here. Um, this is where we stop healing and we focus on damage so we can get our healing back up. We also throw a heal orb right here, right? And then that means that when it's not really needed, right? Look at HP bars, full HP, full HP. Nobody needs healing currently, so we throw a healing orb here, which just isn't going to be as
This will heal
beneficial.
you.
So either we save it for we just probably want to hold on to it here, use it when somebody is critical or when we're out of resource, or use it for the damage in something else. It's just not needed in any sense currently, right? Because there's no reason why we need it. And then we also, again, instead of damaging, we're healing again. But look at the health bars, right?
I will
Yeah,
remember.
in this game, it took so much of my brain just to stay with my
Mm,
tanks. I just didn't have any left over. So I was literally like, all I could focus on was like, just okay, just stay with these guys. Where are they? Stay like that was it.
mm-hmm. Well, hopefully, like once that becomes more of a habit and you don't have to focus all of your brain power on staying with your tanks, then you'll start being able to put your brain power into this type of stuff.
Does the ball stacks with spray? So if you
Yes.
throw an orb, okay.
Yep. And
Okay.
same thing with damage, right? It'll stack with your damage too, because it's a separate source of damage and healing. So you can heal them
Okay.
2 times faster, or damage them 2 times faster. I don't know if it's necessarily two times, because I don't know how much the healing output is for both, and damage output is for both, but it's, essentially that.
Okay.
And then now we're all out of resource again for the almost third time now, I think. Right? So it's happening very, very frequently where we're running out of healing because we haven't even damaged once so far this fight.
Yeah, I was on heal mode.
Power grows.
Here it comes.
The power of destruction. Round 1. Complete. Score 0-2. Switching sides. 5, 4.
It's
So,
such a weird.
huh?
It's just such a weird transition to play Moira like this. It's like it's so weird.
Yep. Here, what we can do is just go like this, come over here, line up an orb with spawn, toss out an orb, back up, right? That gets us an easy 10% ult charge just right off the bat. Okay,
I
so
think I should do that.
we can probably get 2 orbs in before the fight the fight even starts, essentially.
Defend objective A. This
Yep,
is
and then
my
let's see,
kill.
4, 6, 7, okay, 9, okay, 10, 11, right? So you got us 10 ult charge, right? So if we're doing that consistently like in between fights, we're gonna be able to get our ult a lot faster.
Oh shit,
Oh,
that's a new. Okay,
stop! I didn't mean to
that's a
skip
new
you.
concept for me because I know I always do it at like beginning of the game, but I don't think about it in between fights.
Yep. And like we talked about, there's roughly 20 seconds in between each fight. So that's 2 orbs, which means that's 20% ult charge in between each fight.
Yeah.
This will improve your condition.
Good decision to throw the orb there, right? Because nothing else was needed, so that just helps kill him faster.
I'm on fire. Better stay out of my way.
It's like while they're coming out of spawn here, this is where we can just throw another orb in. Right, yep, exactly. Oh, it looks like we're about to.
I cast this
Good job.
Thank you.
How's that for?
Everybody come over
Yep,
here.
that's just, again, look, it's just getting you a bunch of ult charge.
Allow me to repair the damage.
Good job. Now, once we're full HP, right, that's fine. We really got to work on the cutoff time, right? So we got him to full HP. Now, nobody's really needing healing right now. Now we're swapping the damage. But we're focusing just on the healing. We're not looking for the damage. Okay, now we're looking for the damage, but you gotta pay attention to those health bars.
Will you even live? Double kill.
Thank you. See you later. You're right there. I'm being attacked.
Power of destruction.
Hey, very nice. Probably look to get another one off, and then that gets us pretty much our ultimate, right? Just before this fight starts.
Mind your manners. You won't
So,
try me.
look, just toss in an orb from there.
Touch from afar.
I guess I do it. That's nice.
Yep. At least we have been for the so far, right? Yep.
Yeah.
Fire at will. Surrender to my will. This will restore you.
Awareness, right? Listen out for it. Fire in the hole happening right next to our ears. I'm on 20% volume right now. Turn that up to 80 where I usually have it at, and that's 4 times louder. Right. Or let's listen to that
I
real
have
quick.
faith. Did I have faith?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep. Fire in the hole.
Oh yeah. So what I was doing there was like, I usually try to bait the tire. I didn't expect him to be there. I thought I'd have time to look around, see it,
Mhm.
bait it, and then fade when he comes at me. I didn't realize how close he was. It was a good play. Because you don't expect him to be sitting right next to you.
Which is why we gotta look around as soon as we hear it, right? We hear it right side, so we just turn right side immediately.
Okay. I should have turned.
Alright. So it looks like, yeah, we are looking to consistently throw in orbs now. So that is really good. I think the big thing now is I think we're good on orbs in between fights. Look to use damage orbs a little bit more often in fights, but then also the big thing, number one thing so far this game is making sure we're managing when we're healing, when we're damaging, because I think we're not damaging nearly enough, and that means that we're running out of resource very fast. We're doing a very, very good job with our positioning. We're always next to our team. We're behind cover, so that's really good on that end.
Yeah.
Request healing. Good job. Okay. Look at Ryan's HP. Keep in mind as well. Oh, I'm hearing an echo now.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, damaging heals you, right? So when we're low HP, we can just be right-clicking enemy Reinhardt here and be healing our health back.
Yeah.
Look at our Reinhardt. Look at his health. Okay. And look how we just kind of hold down healing. He's outside of our range currently, still holding down healing, and then now half of our resources gone, right? So
Yeah.
make sure we're within range. Make sure we're paying attention to his health. And now he needs the hard healing, but we're going to end up running out of resource here. Right about now, right?
Oh shit, he survived.
And the other thing we're doing is like we heal him up all the way, and then look, we just kind of stare at him real quick, right? Watch where our camera angle is. Right? We're keeping our crosshair on him. We're not really looking for the right click damage. Make sure we're.
Wait, what do you mean? I'm like.
Look at where.
Ryan.
Yeah, our Reinhardt. Yep, we're red team. Yep. So look at where our camera angle is. We ran out of healing, but we're like just kind of following Ryan around with our crosshair, right? And then Hog comes in. We aren't really looking at him, and then we end up fading out. Right, so the damage just comes out really late, right? Really focus on like the swap between damage and healing.
Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna take time. Like my brain is like fried by the time I'm in the right position and I'm making sure to focus the person who's gonna take the most damage. Heals like run out of
What the heck?
bandwidth. That was weird.
How do we teleport over here? Where's your character?
Oh, did I DC'd? I DC'd. That's right.
Oh, okay.
I lost the first point for my team again. I forgot. I'm a bad person.
Nice fade over the bridge there.
10 seconds.
I think we have this in the bag.
Allow me. This will restore you.
Good damage.
Not
We're
ready.
basically cooked.
This will heal you.
Let's see it. Watch this again.
Not ready. Here it comes. This will heal you.
Yeah, that DC probably just kind of put us in a bad position to start off that fight.
For sure. They
Right.
lost this hit.
Cut me. Make them cold. The power of this objective lost. There was a flaw in my defense point. Objective B. Allow me to repair the damage. Fire at its will. Coin the Yeshu.
Overhealing.
Yep.
But positioning,
Yep, position is very good right now, right? We're with our team a lot of the time. We're next to cover. Instead of fading all the way out of the fight for this health pack, maybe just go to cover and request healing from your mercy, right? That way we're not putting ourselves out of the fight for so long.
Surrender to my will.
Right? We've talked about watching kill feed before, right?
yeah.
Right? Who's winning this fight?
We are.
Yep. So therefore this is an overall, right? Because we're up 3 picks, plus we have close spawn. So we're 100% winning this fight. So that means that this is an overall, unfortunately.
Yeah, it happens usually if the kill feed comes in fast at the moment that I have to make a decision. I usually just
Mm.
no, I don't process it in time.
Which
I
you can
guess
see.
it wasn't that fast.
Yeah. So 2 kills come out right before we have our ultimate.
This will restore you.
Right, third kill
Surrender to
happens.
my will.
So the third kill did come out right as we ulted, but the 2 kills before that came out first, right? So in that situation, we want to be very, very hesitant to use our ultimate.
Okay.
It's been there in the host.
Come here, get stabilized.
Okay.
I'm typing. If I'm standing still, I realize I'm either talking to my team or talking shit.
Yeah.
Allow me to
I wasn't questioning the typing there.
Well, I remember we were looking at replays when I was playing Ana, and I would just like stare into space. I was actually pressing tab.
Uh-huh. Alright, so make sure we're watching like how much we're pressing in between fights. Right, let Mercy do most of the healing. Okay. Because we have a resource bar, we can't be healing too much in between fights, and when we do heal in between fights, because they're only taking tickle damage, we only need to tap heal, right? So we have to pay very close attention. Healing when full HP, tap healing, okay, that's fine. Tap healing again, okay. Tap heal last 2 seconds. We don't need to go tap, 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 right? That does nothing. Last 2 seconds, so go tap, 1, 2, tap, 1, 2, tap, 1, 2, right? So us going tap, tap, tap is just doing nothing but wasting resource here.
I see.
allow me to repair the damage.
Watch the HP, right? She's not in danger. She ran away. Nobody's shooting at her currently. Mercy's on top of her. She's pretty much full HP, but we're still full healing. And then now we're starting off fight with just down a little bit of our resource, right? Yeah, make sure we're throwing in those damage orbs. You haven't really done that yet. Oh, good job fading out of that. Probably say fade usage is pretty decent. Orb usage needs a little bit of work. Positioning is very good, and then just knowing when to damage, when to heal is going to be the big thing here.
Yeah, I didn't realize I was running out of resource because I was over healing.
Heroes never die.
And when it's chaotic, I usually just throw a healing orb just proactively because I don't try to like take the time to read health bars. I just like react quick.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, sometimes it's not required for us to read health bars because we only need to throw the healing orb if somebody's critical, right? Which doesn't require a health bar read because their whole body just ends up turning a different color. We get the critical sign on them. So all we have to do to know when to throw an orb is to just read when people are critical, right?
Okay. And then we just win this one.
Okay. Throwing damage orbs, right? Just stand here, look this way, look straight, pretty much just look straight at them and just chuck a damage orb this way, right? Gets us 10% ult charge. Hopefully that means we can get our ult before the fight starts rather than starting at 70, we can start at like 90.
You know, that is really strange. You've just pointed out basically I do that consistently on certain maps on certain points, but not.
Yep.
It's so weird that I wouldn't do it on this point too. It's just like I just forget to keep doing it. It's like you do it. Yeah, I don't know. It's habit.
Tactical visor activated.
And I get carried.
All right, so let's look at our positioning here. So, come up to high ground, Reinhardt. Okay.
This will heal you.
Yeah, so we end up positioning up here, which is fine. Okay, it's because we were trying to fade out of his charge, but now we're separated from the main look for our team, right? So we're trying to get back to them.
Yeah.
That's where I'd probably like fade jump, right? You can get a lot of distance by just fade jumping.
I have fade.
Yeah, fade right now.
I didn't see that.
Mm. Have we talked about phase jumping?
Yeah, I've spent a
Yeah.
lot of time in like a custom game, like
Mm.
especially in Nubis, doing the like really technical wee.
Oh well, not necessarily jumping as in jumping up super high. I'm just talking about jumping forwards.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I use it. Like I
Mm,
used it to bridge that one gap. I just didn't.
mm.
It's sometimes my brain doesn't register that I have it and that I can do it in time because I panic. I'm like critical, need to get there ASAP.
Yep.
Stop thinking.
Yeah, which the big thing is try not to panic while you're playing, right? Because if we stop thinking while we're playing, then we're never gonna improve, right? We're never gonna get
Yeah,
better. We're always gonna be making the same mistakes. Panicking while we're playing is always gonna result in the same thing happening over and over again, right? So what we gotta think while we're playing and make sure we're trying not to panic by taking deep breaths, concentrating. We're playing Overwatch ranked. We're not in Overwatch League. There's no like honestly there should be no major what do you call that, like there's nothing wrong if we lose, right? There's nothing going to happen if we lose this game, so therefore that's why our main concentration should be on improvement, not on winning, because when we're focused on winning then we end up making mistakes like that. We end up kind of
yeah,
getting tilted when we lose, and
yeah,
it's just not going to be a good mindset for trying to climb if we're just win 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 win.
exactly.
Damage increased.
This will heal you. 10 seconds remaining.
Probably tabbing or typing or some shit. I don't know.
All right, so we do have 19 minutes left. Do you have another one that you'd like to go over?
Yeah, I've been having to pull out Zen in times where we're just not getting picks because I really don't know how to play Moira in a way
Mm,
that it's the kind of impact that Zen has. I don't know why. It's
mm,
just so easy to just frag out. I mean, is
mm. Well,
that's like? Oh, go
um,
ahead.
it depends on your play style with Moira. You can go heavier DPS on the DPS side. We did talk about how you're supposed to be like 50-50, but if you feel like nothing's happening, you are able to go and do more damage than healing, right? And then you can kind of win games that way. Um, Like, for example, uh I have a friend on my main account who is a 4.5 Moira who mainly does DPS. A lot of the times you'll find him backline Moira-ing, right? And he succeeds just because like Moira has very consistent damage that she can get away with that can kind of result in kills, but it's a very specific play style, and I wouldn't necessarily advocate it all the time, but it is gonna work when your team's not kind of cooperating or doing anything. But Zenyatta is also another option for that.
What I find is, I find when I try to do that, you'll come up against a composition that's really tanky, like Hog.
Hmm.
You can't like,
Now
and they're
arriving
grouped
ahead.
up well. You can't get any
Ready
picks on
for
them. They're
battle.
just like, I don't know how to get picks because if I fade or if I go around them and now I'm behind them, they're just gonna turn around and I just get wiped. But with Zenyatta, you just like burn them down.
Mhm. Which if you find you're having success with Lignana, then no problem with that. But yeah, like if we're behind them on Moira, then we have a fade to get away. We can use cover, try it effectively. We can try to time it for when our team is distracting them, right? If we're trying to go in 1v6, then that's going to be a problem. But if we're going in when our team is going in, then now we're creating a crossfire to where we're behind them and coming in at the same time, and they have to kind of split their attention. So that's yeah, probably
Okay,
going in 1v6 isn't gonna work too well. And we have Fade available. We have our Heal Orb to use on ourselves, um, and we can just try to be kind of in safe positioning behind them.
okay. That's what I was wondering because I can't get the impact that I have on Zen that I can with Moira or the other way.
5,
It's
Uh huh.
like we'll
3,
I'll
2,
be in games where our team is just
round
continuously
1.
staggering, and I need to
Capture
like
the objective.
stop their momentum. I just can't do it with. I can't really do it with Moira. I guess I
Mm.
play her and then I switch because this is one of those situations where I'm just like, no, this isn't gonna work.
Uh
My
huh.
will made real. My condition is improved. Regenerating your cellular structure. This is my will.
Also, Orisa seems to be a really bad pick.
Really bad pick as in like against this composition, or I think Orisa's not the best at the moment.
Yeah,
She's not fantastic in the
she's.
meta.
I'm under attack.
It just seems like she's just like she sucks up heals and then she just dies, and that's all she does.
Do you know what we're doing here when we go AFK?
I'm under attack.
Probably tilted or probably I don't know tabbing.
Tilted like right as the game's starting here.
I don't know. Usually it's probably I'm tabbing. I think I'm behind cover, but I'm reading.
No. You keep in mind you know you can tab and move at the same time, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Yep. So
Oh,
whenever
that's an interesting. Okay.
whenever we tab, we probably don't want to stand still because standing still is just asking to get shot at. So when we tab, and keep in mind as well, when we tab, we don't have to hold tab up, right? We can tab, and we can kind of like flicker tab, where we can kind of glance at it and then put it down. When we're tabbing, we can move side to side, right? We don't have to keep it up, and then that way, if we're just pressing tab every once in a while here, we can see what's up with tab, but we don't have to be sacrificing all our vision, right? And we don't have to be standing still and letting them shoot at us for free, because we can be moving side to side and all around, right? Is it a quick play Ilios or a comp Ilios?
Quick. Comp.
Now arriving at Ilios. Ready for battle. Ready for battle.
Oh, the election's finally decided.
Has
Jesus.
it?
Yeah. It's Biden.
Yeah, that's probably gonna get contested, I would imagine.
Yeah, it is.
Because there's been a lot of reports of I believe in Wisconsin alone, there were 300 cases or 3,000. So 30,000. My bad, words don't work. 300. Yeah, that makes sense. There were 300,000 cases. 100,000. Sorry, my yes, brain is farting right now. 30,000 cases of dead people voting.
Oh my
Or maybe
God.
and then there were a bunch of tens of thousands of cases of double votes. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of that out there currently.
Yep.
So
This is a situation where I was getting frustrated. I think we were too passive. I think we actually give up the point, and then I switched to Zen. I think, or maybe I played Moira for this round. I don't know.
all right, well, you know how a while ago I did a quick play to show you kind of how I do on Lucio, right? How I can use my mechanics to my advantage.
Yeah.
I often will DPS more in things like quick play just to have fun, just because I think it's very relaxing and it's pretty funny too that I can get away with it.
Yeah.
Would that be something that would interest you in and kind of seeing how
Yeah.
I can get away with mostly damaging?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm curious. Yeah.
Right. So we'll hop into this then. Yeah, but just in general, I'll probably say the biggest thing just from today is making sure we're focusing on two major things actually. First off, make sure we're focusing on when to heal, when to damage. But then the other thing is, when we're trying to focus on these new things, make sure we're not completely forgetting about the old things, right?
Yeah.
So if we're focused on positioning, we're not completely throwing everything else out the window, right? So we can put most of our brain power into it, but most isn't all, right? So that means we still need to put some of our brain power into other things too. We need to be thinking about other things as well.
Yeah.
All right, so hopefully I don't get absolutely steamrolled, because this type of illustration has gone very wrong before, especially when I have not played yet today. So
I'm going to the restroom. I'll be right back.
All right. Instead, what I should probably, yeah, that makes sense. If I, Biden has been elected president, apparently.
Science will reveal the truth.
Oh, I see.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds. The true struggle is for the superiority of ideas.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, just in time.
All right, so I probably should have started off behind them, but whatever. We'll start here. I wasn't paying attention.
One. Attackers incoming.
So we're just gonna start here. Right now, just keep in mind that I'm gonna be mainly DPS marring. This might not be the exact, I guess, play style that I'm advocating for, but this can be if you're really stumped and nothing's happening. Right, so we're looking for something to toss damage in. Torbjorn, okay, so they have a Torbjorn, so this is gonna make this instantly 10 times more difficult. And Zinnia probably might be just a better character if we're up against a Torb like this.
Yeah.
Allow me to repair the damage.
There you go. There's some free food.
Oh well. Yeah, so
For DPS and no heals.
so this comp just is not good against that. So
That's what I'm saying. This is what happens.
which is not gonna happen all the time. I get away with this a lot, right? More often than you'd think. What I should probably do in the future is I'll pin a replay so that I can go over this with people that I coach. But I might end up having to leave this game actually, just because it's not gonna get much value if we're going over this, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like you get a comp, you get like this kind of, and then you're just in this game.
Which you can always swap to the Zenyatta if you need to, but oh.
Okay, yeah, pop strands, that's good.
Yep. Fading out. I'm gonna go up top behind him here. Oh, I got flanked there. Okay, so yeah, I think we might end up swapping here or getting out of the game because I don't want to go over a game where it's just not a good comp to go up against. I mean,
what about the comp? Because that's what I feel like I experienced.
So when it's tanky, a Torbjorn is probably the biggest thing there. That I would go. Zenyatta's good at killing turret. Moira is not good at killing turret. Yeah. So we can try getting into another game, or we can just go back into the replay.
Let's go back in the replay.
Yeah, what I'll probably do is I'll try to record a game of myself doing that, and then that way I can actually have something to show somebody in the future, because I have done that a few different times. But
that's the feeling I got. I'd be up against these comps, and I'm like, I can't get anything done with Moira. Like, there's no easy picks.
Yeah, which in those situations, then yeah, swap is necessary. That's why different characters are good against different compositions.
Now arriving at Ilios, ready for battle.
I think if you skip to the halfway point, I think I'm playing Zen at that point. I'm kind of curious about my positioning with Zen in just general.
And good healing orbs. Okay, make sure we're focused on shields that matter, right? Spamming at that shield's not really gonna do much for us.
Is it though? Because I thought like if he's making the mistake of leaving his shield up, and I can burn it down so that he doesn't have it.
Well, he does he have it if he's leaving it up?
No.
Right, so in that case, what we can do is instead of shooting at this shield, we shoot at Arissa's shield, and now where their whole team is, they don't have a shield, right? But right now, we're just kind of shooting at nothing currently.
Okay.
Right, so us shooting at Orisa shield is just gonna get some more value. Right now, we don't have a Discord orb on somebody. Try to always have all our orbs applied, right? That way, we're getting value out of both of them.
Yeah, that's something. That's something I've been focused on with Zen. Is like no downtime with your orbs.
Enemy seen.
Right. Um.
Terrible positioning.
Yep. I think we kind of needed to try to touch because we are about to lose point, but we're also just I don't know. It's tough. Which only really try to touch if nobody else is going for it. So I think this is
Yeah,
okay.
that's what.
It's okay.
And that's like the rule of thumb. Like if you have the point and you're Zen, I mean you're gonna die
Yep.
regardless. You should die on point.
Mm. Well, not if you're necessarily gonna lose point, because the other thing to keep in mind is that like we can if we have nobody to stop point, we can just look to win the fight rather than contest point. So if we know that we're gonna if that we can win this fight, instead of running the point, we sit on the sidelines and we just try to win the fight, and then even if the cap point, we get it back.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Okay,
I
so what?
find in my elos when someone caps a point, it just like stays forever because they just do not clean up the point.
Well, do you think that maybe that might something to do with that might be the fact that whenever they start capping, we end up going and feeding, and then now we're down a person, and then we're now losing the fight, and then now we lose the fight, and then now they have point for longer.
Well, I figure like that was the thing to do because it's a loss. Here's what my thinking with the
Mhm.
Zen is: you really can't run away. Like he's too slow. You're gonna stagger hard if you
Yeah.
try to escape. So
Well,
in that particular instance, I
it's
think.
pay attention to what's
Oh,
happening
go
around
ahead.
us because are we losing the fight? Right, we were down one person. We're down two people, right? But not every time we're down two people is it a lost fight. Right? We still have four people alive.
Okay.
Right? So we have to pay attention to that fact. So this is still a winnable fight. We're
Okay.
down two here.
So you're saying don't start. Okay.
Right. So in that situation, we can probably like we do end up going and stalling. Um, yeah, we can try it because our team doesn't like our team comes back like a second later, right? A second after we touch
Okay.
point. So we could probably have gotten away with just sitting on the sidelines and just looking to win the fight rather than trying to get in there and start fighting.
I'm really worried with Zen about the long staggers, like trying to escape a lost fight, getting staggered super late, and then
Yeah.
being the reason why.
Which keep in mind, if the rest of your team's not isn't dying fast, then that means they like it's not a stagger if four people aren't dead, right? They're all gonna come in behind us, so it doesn't necessarily even matter. Like if we have three other people alive on point and they're all dying after us, then our death isn't like us going in and dying fast. That's not even gonna stop a team stagger. So we have to be careful that we're not trying to stagger in the wrong scenarios because then that ends up killing us. Yeah, really focus on these spam angle. Okay, try not to hold down our left click, right? If we're not seeing an enemy team, we are reloading or we're charging up a right click. Anytime that we can't see the enemy, we're charging up right clicks. Anytime we can see the enemy, we're left clicking. But we got to be careful that we're not just spamming left click. And then on top of that, make sure we're trying to aim in the direction of the enemy team. Watch our positioning here, right? Look at where we're at in comparison to like everyone in our team and whatnot. We're kind of off on our own, doing our own thing, and that can just be really dangerous.
So, okay. So, how did I get? Wait, how did I get there?
Okay, here we
You
just
go.
we waltz over here.
Where did I? Okay, so here I'm in position. I'm spamming the angle because this is a good safe angle to spam, right?
Yep, this is fine.
And then I wonder what happens in between now and
Well,
then.
we just didn't realize that they rotated, and then we just end up pushing forward, and we're not. Oh, what did I do?
Oh,
We're not paying attention to where our team's at, right? Um,
okay.
now we have transcendence available, right? What is that? What does this mean that we can't do with transcendence?
Let me think. Well, I mean, what you are you saying? What you don't want to do is be out of position and waste it, saving your own life.
Well, in Transcendence here, that means that if we use Trance, we're
can't heal
wasting.
your team.
Yeah, we can't heal our team. We're wasting half of Trance, right? Because it takes us like 3 seconds to get back to them from here, and then that means that half the Trance is just wasted.
And so, oh jeez. When I'm playing super far back, and I'm in a safe position, I get my trans. I always kind of scoot up to my team to be ready to trans them. That's the right thing to do.
Yep, stay with your team,
Okay.
right? Because you can't Trance from super far away from them is the thing.
But you should be like on Hanamura. You should be like on that little mini where Ana usually stands, first point. You should be way far back. It's not like you should be where you can get rolled.
Where on like on second pointer, is that what you're talking about?
The first point, when you're the little room that Ana usually sits on defense.
Mm-hmm.
Traveling to Hanamura.
Little
The way
room.
I've been. Oh, go ahead.
Come on, let's bring it together.
The way I've
this
been
is all right.
positioning with Zen is like I position him 2 rotations back. So yeah,
where like over here?
even to the left, like right there.
Well, you don't necessarily play in the room. That's a little far back,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's you can probably be anywhere within this whole area. Just maybe don't peek this wide because then that opens up all of choke. We can just kind of spam in the choke here. We have this as cover if we need to. We can just go this way, right? We can shoot here and just go this way if we need cover. If we see our team is all the way up there and we have Transcendence and they have ultimates, if they come in and you start using ult and we need Trance, then it takes us 1, 2, 3 seconds and then we're there, and then in that time people can die, and that time we're wasting half of Trance. So if we know that we're going to use Trance, we might want to move up to like something like this, and then now the ults start happening, people are critical, and now it's 1 second before we're getting there, right?
That's what I do.
Yep, so
and
that's
what I'm saying is like it's harder to position on payload maps because the positioning is dynamic. But what I've been doing for payload maps is like I think about the second, like wherever my team is, I take like 1 rotation behind them. So I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, you want to play decent a bit behind them. You just don't want to be so far back that you can't do anything, right? You want to be constantly able to see the enemy team on Zenyatta so you can shoot them.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, that way you get ult charge, that way you can get damage in, get discords on things, right? Because like probably more than like any other support character, like 70% of Zenyatta's kit is damage, right? He only plops heal on people and then has Trance. That's his only healing. Everything else is focused on damage. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so you have any questions on anything that we've gone over this session?
No, I'm gonna focus